What is going on, everyone? It is your boy Destroy with Astrodfs bringing you the breakdown of the wide receivers this week. A lot of injuries, so potential to spend down on some receivers just because some guys are going to be moving into the number one, number two spot this week with injuries. So, yeah, wide receiver you're going to have to watch all week up to Sunday, that 90-minute announcement before game, you're going to have to watch receivers. So don't fully commit to anything yet because there's some interesting plays that pop up with some of these guys injured. So let's break it down with the number one receiver at salary, that is $8,000 Julio Jones, questionable. Questionable is he was limited at practice playing against the Rams, and he's going to go against Jalen Ramsey, I believe. So at 8,000, granted they're playing the Rams, who just they haven't been the same team. Um, not I don't want to say they're a terrible pass defense, but they're not good. They haven't looked good. I think Jalen Ramsey just brings a new character to that defense, and I think that defense is going to be a lot better with Jalen Ramsey than Marcus Peters. Granted, Keep Talib is going to be out, and if Julio Jones gets locked down, then Ridley and Sanu just become really good plays, just because there's not a lot of people that are going to cover him. So yeah, Julio Jones at 8,000. In all honesty, I'd rather pay down and go Ridley or Sanu. Ridley preferably, but if you need to save a little bit more money, go Sanu. Right below him at 7,900 is Michael Thomas. Um, Playing against the Bears, the only reason you like Michael Thomas in this matchup, I mean, he's got a hefty price. But the only reason you like him is just because he gets targeted like he's the number one receiver. They don't clearly have a number two receiver. And Kamara might still be banged up. I believe Kamara is going to play. But yeah, at 7,900 against the Bears, I don't think I'm going to spend any higher than 7,400 this week at Cooper Cup. But yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of Michael Thomas this week. Not a huge fan. Unless he goes against Amukamura, which I think he might actually, then it makes a little more interest. But I imagine Bears are going to plan for Michael Thomas a lot, so we'll see what happens. But he's not one of my favorite plays. DeAndre Hopkins, another guy that was limited, playing against Indianapolis. Colts. Yeah, Colts are they're a good defense. We've seen them shut teams down lately. Um, just a prime example is the Kansas City Chiefs. Um, Colts are top six in passing yards allowed at only 750 and only 4 passing touchdowns allowed this season. They do allow a decent amount of receptions, but they don't allow a lot of attempts. They make teams run the ball. They pace teams. So DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, limited. You got to watch it too, but still not a really good play for me. Devontae Adams, 7,600. I don't think he's going to play. In all honesty, I think he's going to be out again, and that's where I say of other plays become really interested there. But yeah, to start off for me for playable people is Cooper Cup, 7,400. Great matchup. They just had a terrible game where they got blown out. They were gonna have Todd Gurley back this week, which makes their running game better. And they're just going against an Atlanta Falcons team that just allows yards, 1,182 yards to wide receivers to be exact. That's fourth in the league, 10 touchdowns, tied for second in the league. And it's Cooper Kupp. He's been one of the most consistent wide receivers in the league. Last week was his worst game that he's had since I think before the injury. But still, he gets you points. 11.6 week 1, 5.7 week 6, but I'm mad he's been hitting 20s and 30s. And if Atlanta is going to be the passing offense that they've been, then this should be a decent scoring game. Both teams should get at least 20. Neither defense is elite, but the offenses have a really good upside, and Cooper Kupp's the guy to lead that team. Not saying that Cooks or Woods are bad plays either because they're really good plays, but I like Cooper Kupp just being the number one receiver. Um, Adam Thielen at 6,900 playing Detroit. Detroit's defense has looked a lot better lately. Granted, they were playing the Packers last week, and Aaron Rodgers came back. Jamal Williams did a lot, but kind of scared me a little bit that Aaron Rodgers was just going in on him with all three of his receivers hurt for the most part. Granted, Minnesota's offense has been clicking a lot in the last few weeks. Thielen, maybe not my favorite play here, just because I like Cooks or Dalvin Cook, I should say. I like Dalvin Cook for the receiving side, rushing side. Detroit just doesn't give up a lot of passing down or passing touchdowns to receiver. Only 4 this year, and they break up a lot of passes. If that Detroit defensive back is healthy, Adam Thielen, I mean, he's still a good play because that offense is going to just continue to adapt. And Kirk Cousins doesn't look that terrible anymore. He doesn't look great or elite or, all-star level, all-pro level, but he's looking pretty good. It's just 6,900. It's a rough price point. If you put him back at 65, somewhere around there, I'm loving Thielen. It's that extra 400 just makes some plays harder than others. Keenan Allen is 6,700. We've seen him drop down before and just go crazy. He's at 6,700. That offense has been lacking lately. Tennessee's defense is average 890 passing yards allowed, only 4 touchdowns. Also, 50. Like they're in the average defenses. They're gonna have a new quarterback for Tennessee that maybe paces the team more, and that Tennessee defense just looks good. The Chargers' offense is all healthy, from what I understand. But if you could just look at Thielen's numbers the last 3 weeks, yeah, it's not promising. Not promising at all. Just, the price is the only thing that interests me there. Nothing else really. Been playing bad. Maybe he has a great comeback game, but he's just been playing really bad. And Tennessee's defense, like I said, their pass defense has just looked really good. Next on the list is our boy Lockett. Tyler Lockett lately, I mean, it's weird because Seattle's been playing good, and you see Tyler Lockett, he hit a 35-point game, but he also got 10 against Arizona. It's just the way they play with Chris Carson just determines how good Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf are going to go off. Seattle gives up a decent amount of yards, 952. They break up a lot of, or Baltimore, I'm sorry. Yeah, Baltimore they just got a new weapon on defense. They allow a lot of yards. A lot of yards. It was 1152. 1152, 4 touchdowns. Seattle, they're going to be playing at Seattle, and that just gives a big boost to any Seattle player. At 6,600, I'm okay with playing Tyler Lockett here. He's been pretty, like I said, just pretty good, getting 12, 14, 17, 11. It's just the 9.1, the 35.4 that can drive people to him or away. It just depends on how much they're going to run the ball. If they run the ball a lot, Tyler Lockett's volume, his production goes down. If they split it, Tyler Lockett's a really great play. AJ Green, I don't think is going to play. Just not going to talk about him. Stephon Diggs goes up to 6,300. I like him again. I like him more than I like Thielen. If I'm going to Minnesota receiver, I'm going to go Stephon Diggs here against Detroit. Yeah, great play last week. Like, I put it on Twitter. Stephon Diggs, the sleeper of the week, 5,900, great game. He was due 3 touchdowns, 167 yards, 7 receptions. So yeah, I was happy about that. Will Fuller was limited. If Kenny Stills is still out, Yeah, maybe Fuller. It's just he's 6,200 and he's only had one great game. That's it. 56 points. Other than that, he's only got 10. 10 was his highest before that. And they're playing an Indianapolis defense that, like I said, has just been playing really good. McLaurin's playing San Francisco, and the quarterback situation there is weird. They're home, but 6,100 against the best defense in football right now, no interest at all. They allow 4 touchdowns, but they've only allowed 635 yards. Guys, the 49ers defense, granted they've only played 5 games, have only allowed 45 completions. 45 in 5 games. That's crazy. Besides, at 6,100, you got Larry Fitzgerald playing the Giants in a great matchup for him. You could say whatever you want about the Giants offense and how good they look this week. And like you could say like I said, the Giants defense is starting to click a little, but if Larry Fitzgerald has Christian Kirk with him, that offense is really good. They're very spread out. And they're gonna have David Johnson fully healthy too. That offense is really good. Like we saw what Larry Fitzgerald did the first couple weeks. 28, 18, 4, had a minimum of 7 targets and had 200-yard games. This is a game where they do it. The reason why I think they do it is because the Giants offense can score the ball. They're going against a great matchup for the Giants too. We'll talk about their players, but they're playing against Arizona's terrible defense. Granted, they get Patrick Peterson, which helps a little bit, but they just have a lot of weapons on that offense. So unless Daniel Jones has a terrible game, Arizona's going to have to fight against the Giants, and they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. Larry Fitzgerald, we've seen, is that reliable target. They still don't have a tight end. They usually run a 3 to 4 man wide receiver scheme. Larry Fitzgerald, 6,100, great price, great matchup. I love it. DJ Chark Jr. up to 6,000, playing against Cincinnati. That's hurt. Minshew is the only issue that I have here. If we could see Minshew just ball out and have a great passing game, makes me a lot more happy to play these guys. Like, have a lot more confidence. But at 6,000, DD Westbrook didn't practice today. It's an if. Like, if I'm off by $100 and can't afford Larry Fitzgerald, sure, I'll go DJ Chark. Sure, but like I said, we just haven't seen Minshew explode. Great matchup, like playing a terrible pass defense in Cincinnati. Terrible. Uh, they've allowed only 727 passing yards. Granted, you could say, "Wow, that's crazy good," but teams just run the ball on them. Lamar Jackson had, I think, almost more rushing than passing yards last week. Minshew can run, but they're not going to have him run that much. If anybody's going to run, it's going to be Leonard Fournette. But if Westbrook's out, Chark is their number one guy. He's been their number one guy. He's got targeted at least 7 times in the last 3 weeks. Granted, last week he did not play good. That offense didn't play good, but he has touchdown potential. That's what you love. He's had four games of getting a touchdown. The only one they didn't get is against Denver and against New Orleans. He's not really touchdown dependent, I don't want to say, because we've seen him get over 100 yards in 2 games. We've seen him get upwards of 7-8 receptions in 2 games. It's just like I said, I'd rather go Larry Fitzgerald and then go $100 cheaper. T.Y. Hilton in just a great matchup here. Texans allowing 1,100 passing yards and 8 touchdowns. And the Colts offense is just, their defense is good. They're going to get the offense the ball a lot. That's where you like the Colts offense. Just because their defense is that good. Houston may put up a lot of points and the Colts have to fight back if they're down early. And T.Y. Hilton's the leader of that receiver core, as we've seen. And he 5,900 is just a great price. Like it's really hard to pass up. Love it. Definitely going to be playing a lot of them. Robert Woods, like I said, Atlanta, terrible defense. if you want to fade Cooper Kupp, guess what? You have to play a Rams receiver. You have to this week. I don't want to say I said you have to. You don't have to, but in my opinion, it's just a bad play if you don't. It's a great matchup. They're going to have a bounce back game. It's just which receiver you want to bet on, basically. Cooper Kupp, the safest play. Robert Woods, second. Cooks, third. That's my ranking for the receivers. I think a lot of people say the same. So any one of these three guys, great plays. Golden Tate. The thing with Tate, granted, another good matchup. Playing Arizona, who's allowed almost 1,000 passing yards, 7 touchdowns to receivers. The thing that worries me a little, and granted, it's his first game back, week 5, but him and Sterling Shepard basically both play slot. But last week, when he was the number one receiver, basically the only receiver playing against New England, 6 receptions, 102 yards, and a touchdown. They're going to put points up. Barkley should be back this week. That offense is 100%, and instead of having Eli Manning, they have Daniel Jones who can run the ball. If Shepard's out, if Shepard's truly out, he has a concussion, going through the concussion protocol, at 5,800, Golden Tate's a great play. He really is. Playing at home, playing a terrible defense, may go against Patrick Peterson, but I don't believe he is. Shepard's out, 100% a great play. Kenny Galladay, on the other hand, kind of iffy for me. Minnesota's allowed a decent amount of touchdowns, 7, only 850 yards. But we've seen that Galladay is the number one target there. Broke 100 yards 2 games. The minimum targets, this is the thing that's crazy. Minimum targets is 8. But the thing was, he only had 2 catches against Philly. That's the only thing. But he's playing Minnesota. Yeah. I mean, the only way you don't like him is if they have Rhodes on him. I have to look at the matchup again to see if Rhodes is covering him. If he's not, 5,800 at home, divisional game, they're going to have to put points on the board. Galladay's a great play at 5,800. Shepard, like I said, I'd rather go Tate at 5,800 than Shepard at 5,700. Just because of the potential for Golden Tate. Marquise Brown playing Seattle. If he plays, maybe interest, but I don't believe he's going to play. Tyler Boyd, he's due for a bounce back game. Playing Jacksonville, Ramsey's no longer there. Being the number one receiver, like Ross is going to be gone. Green's still out. But it's just that offensive line is terrible. Makes Andy Dalton hard to throw the ball. Jacksonville has a good, I'd say, a good core line, and they're just going to pressure Cincinnati. So unless they've schemed for it and do a lot of quick throws, Tyler Boyd just doesn't bring in a lot of interest for me. He really doesn't. Allen Robinson, I don't know. Like, we seen him play good with Daniel the first week when he went in. Last week against Oakland, goes off even more. Like, guy's been targeted at least 7 times every game. Catches a lot. Like, he's clearly the number one receiver. The thing with me is Gabriel might be back. Miller might be 100% healthy. They're playing a Saints defense where they have a great matchup, allowed over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. If you're going to Chicago receiver and you want to put your money on Trubisky being back or Chase Daniel in there, then fine. Go Allen Robinson, 5,500. I mean, you look at the games, he's only had one game under 10. On that, 12, 14, 28, 20. And the thing is, he's only had 2 touchdowns this year. 2. You get him a touchdown a game, those games, he's got a 20-point game every game, basically. So, great matchup. In my opinion, even if he has Latimer on him, still a really good matchup to me. John Brown, limited basis again. If Brown plays, Brown plays great play here, playing against the worst team in football, Josh Allen. I think Buffalo needs to test themselves and just try to put some points on the board. The crazy thing, Miami's defense has only allowed 600 or 764 yards to receivers, but they've allowed 8 touchdowns. He's the number one receiver in Buffalo. Granted, a lot of people are high on Cole Beasley just because of his targets, being in the slot and all that. If John Brown plays, great play, 5,500. Like I said, a lot of value at the 5K range this week. So, not a bad play either. Not one of my favorites, just because we haven't seen him explode, but not a bad play. Brandon Cooks, I already said, number 3 there. Ridley. If Julio doesn't play, I don't like Ridley as much. If Julio plays, I love Ridley, 5,300, great price. The other 2 guys we're just going to get them off the board here is Scantling and Allison. Both got banged up. If they don't play, Devontae Adams doesn't play, guess what? Go cheap. Go cheap on a Green Bay receiver, whoever you want to go. We can go either Kamuro, who we saw last week, filled in a little, three targets, 2 receptions, 17 yards, nothing crazy. Or you go Alan Lazard, who got 4 receptions, 65 yards, and got a touchdown. Shouldn't have been a touchdown, but he got credited with it. Oakland's defense is not good at all, especially in the second half, and Aaron Rodgers is going to have to throw to somebody. Like, he has to. All these guys are below 4K, so if you need to save some salary and all 3 of those receivers are out, guess what? They're all on the board. Let's go back down. Williams is not going to play as far as I know. Christian Kirk, 5,000. If you don't go Larry Fitzgerald, you have to go Christian Kirk. Like, these are just really good plays. Targeted 12 times twice. Like, to me, that's just crazy. And he's yet to get a touchdown. So he's also due for a touchdown. Marvin Jones Jr., I prefer Galladay. He has a good matchup. If Rhodes is on Galladay, then he has a really good matchup. I'd rather take Amendola in the slot, though. D.D. Westbrook, like I said, is questionable. It's just Minshew brings a question mark. DK Metcalf been sitting at 4.8 thousand range all season for the last, 5 weeks? 4 weeks? Yeah, been sitting there. Just pretty average guy. Not someone I would necessarily go after, but yeah. Marquise Goodwin, great play just playing against Washington. Their defense is terrible. He's only been targeted at most 4 times, which just scares me. And their running game is just too good for me to want to go a San Francisco receiver. Beasley, great position playing Miami slot. Just gets a lot of targets, a lot of receptions. 13, 10, 9. Like, brings in points. Not going to get you touchdowns, but he's going to get you receptions and a little bit of yards. Mike Williams, just granted, he's been targeted 23 times in the last 2 weeks, which great potential there. 74, 72. Playing against Tennessee's defense, though, and like, he's got 23 targets in the last 2 weeks, but he's only got a combined 25 fantasy points the last 2 weeks, which is crazy. No one should only have 25 points if you're targeted 23 times in 2 weeks. So that brings some scare to me. Sanu, like I said, if you need 4,600, Sanu, just another good play. Deebo Samuel's questionable. Still, like I said, it's just that run game there. Auden Tate, I have no interest in. Kenny Stills is going to be back. He practiced today, I guess. I didn't see the practice list. Willie Snead, not a whole lot of interest. Richardson, no interest there. Pettis, had a really good bounce back week last week, so maybe Slayton. Slayton only if, and this is more of a GPP than a cash. Slayton only if Shepard doesn't play. Duke Williams, yeah, he did that, but not a big, just, they're going to run the ball. Singletary's going to be back. They're going to run the ball a little more. 4,100, he's just too much of a risk. We haven't seen him we haven't got much of a sample size for me to commit to him. Like I said, Gabriel might be back. Anthony Miller, just good spots there. Um, Keyshawn Johnson, I mean, maybe since Kirk's going to be back, but not a whole lot. Amendola, like I said, I'd rather go Amendola than Marvin Jones Jr. there. Jerron Brown, I mean, 2 touchdowns last week. I don't think he's going to do it again, but save a little bit of money. All right, guys. Green Bay there. There's one other guy I want to show. One other guy. We're going to go down to 3,100 right here. Zay Jones. Zay Jones got traded off of Buffalo. The thing is if Williams is still gone, there's still injuries. It's an interesting play. We just have to hear about what Oakland's going to do. He's a great receiver in my opinion. Not elite, not above average, but he's a good receiver in my opinion. He's 3,100. They're going to be playing a Green Bay team who they're going to have to match with. They have a good run game, but I don't think they're going to be able to run like they want to. But yeah, maybe not this week, but look at that price, 3,100. If Williams is continuously gone, not a terrible play there. So that's it for wide receiver, guys. Comment of who you guys like this week. Like the video if you did enjoy, and subscribe if you haven't already to catch all our content. We do have daily content now. Finding a way to get daily content out there. NBA season is in a week, so we're probably going to have double uploads there, so watch out for those. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all the support lately. It's been crazy how much support we've gotten. And we will see you in tomorrow's video going over the tight ends for the week. So we